Hello, it is the last week of vlogging, and today is May 3rd. It's a Sunday at about 4:15 in the afternoon. I came back to my work to film in Glasgow, and I wanted to talk about, for this vlog, I'll give a short update for this past week because it's been slightly eventful for me as a student, but also talking about some things related to coronavirus that's affected people I know personally. So I wanted to talk about death and grieving with coronavirus, and whether or not you know somebody, either that's family, blood related, or a friend, or someone you may even consider family that's not blood related, that's passed away from this, and what people could possibly do to grieve, things like that. But as far as the update, this week I got a little sick Wednesday. It was mostly allergies, so I don't think it was anything corona related, because I don't feel any worse. I feel a lot better, actually, because Wednesday I sneezed from the time I woke up until the middle of the night when I finally went to sleep. So the next 2 days my body was incredibly sore, because when I sneeze, it heaves my whole body up and then throws me back down like I'm in a WWE showdown or something. But it feels like my entire upper body is bruised, and I could feel the sneezing, that it got so rough that my arms would even hurt. So yeah, it was not a fun time. And I finished a class early. It was an on-demand one, so that one's out of the way, and I got an A in that. And then I've finished a lab for geographic information systems. I've been trying to work on this vlog, and I need to work and finish on a paper that's due tomorrow for my criminology class. So then I move on to finals. But now, related to the coronavirus and death and grieving, last night around 10 o'clock, my boyfriend's mother, her not blood related uncle, but still uncle, passed away last night from coronavirus. And she's really shaken up about it, and so is Pat, her husband. And it's very sad to go through something like this, especially when you can't visit the family. And even the family wasn't there for him to pass away, because they can't be in the same room together because he had coronavirus. And then I have no idea about the funeral services, if they're even going to do anything like that. So it's still like they can't go up to visit them, because Sharon, his mother, is from New Jersey, and I don't know if that's still where they were living, but they can't go visit because of all that's going on, because his parents are in their 50s and 60s, so they're just as at risk for all of this, and I hope they stay home, at least for now, and then go visit later, but I don't know what's going to happen. But her husband, Pat, he made a Facebook post telling people about this man who was incredible to Sharon and her siblings and her father, who is his best friend. And it boils down to, people don't realize how much this affects people that aren't them, because they're the ones that have lost someone near and dear to them, and it's all because of this virus that is really deadly for some people. Like, there's a loss in connection between grieving for someone that you don't know and caring for someone that you don't know, and between yourself. I mean, I would like to read the post off, but it even makes me feel emotional, and that's not the type of person I am at all. But that's what this does to people. Like, when you actually put a face to the name, and you know about who they are as a person, and what they did for people, and who cares about them, and the things that they did, and how they acted, and their personality, it's like, they become a real person to you, even though they always were a real person. But now it's like, oh, I know something about these people and this person or that person, So their death is a little sad. It's more sad than it would be if you didn't know anything about them. But this man had to die alone without any of his family, without his wife near him because of this virus. That's how sad it is. I think that's the worst thing about getting this, is that of course it is hard to deal with physically in your body. Like, your immune system, it just takes a real big hit. But if you're one of those people that don't recover from it and you're just alone through all of it because it's so contagious, that if you pass away, you're on your own. You have to go through it alone. It's like he had to stay there by himself in a room with no one around. He didn't get to see his wife. He didn't get to see any other family or friends or anything in his last days. It was him and the virus. That was his only companion. But it's a harsh reality that a lot of people, now that the quarantines are closing and businesses are opening back up, that they're not considering how hard this is for people that have lost their family and their friends. Like, it's just an inconvenience to them that, oh, I couldn't go to the nail salon or a hair salon, or I have to restrict myself to so many rules when I go to the grocery store that only one of us in my family can even go in, or I have to wear a mask everywhere I go. But it's like, there could be a lot more harsh restrictions if you think about it, and these are just to make sure that you and everyone else doesn't get sick. But there are people that have to do this. They have to stay at home because their immune systems are unable to compete with this virus, that they have to wait until probably there's not many cases at all, because you'll hear about all these people like, oh, I would love to see what these people do on the first wave of this quarantine ending. It's going to be hysterical, honestly, because you're going to see so many people that get this virus and they're not going to know what to do about it. And it's going to be bad. Another death that happened a few weeks ago was my sister's friend that she's been in school with for years. Her father had COPD, and I don't believe he died because of this virus, but because of the virus, they had to limit how many people could actually come to the services. And I think that was a shame, because there's a lot of people that actually liked him and liked to be around him and liked him as a person. They would have liked to be there for his funeral because they just enjoyed him as a person and they were friends with him. They were family. And it's a shame that they didn't get to experience that, because funerals are even doing drive-through services. But it's like, come on. What would you do if your mother passed away, or your father, or your grandparents, or your uncles and your aunts, or your cousins, or your children? Like, if those people that were close to them that you knew, or you didn't know because they just had a bunch of their own friends, that they couldn't come see them and say goodbye. That's heart-wrenching. And I think the grieving process for this is going to be more difficult than it would be for anyone passing away just during regular times when there wasn't a virus or some flu or anything like that, like especially the coronavirus that wasn't going around. Because here, people would use certain coping mechanisms and activities to go out and make themselves feel better, even though they've just lost somebody. Now you can't do that. You have to find a way to stay inside or stay away from people, at least to keep yourself sane and to process your grief. But now people can't necessarily do that. But Kentucky is opening up their businesses, a few each week. Like, I think there's hair salons and small businesses and stuff like that's opening on May 25th, I think. And I think church services are resuming on the 20th. Something like that. But even through all this talk of reopening the state and everything, there are still new cases coming out. Like, my friend just told me today that they reported 173 new cases of coronavirus, but the levels of everything are stable. I mean, it's just hard having to deal with this because, of course, being sick is terrible, but then having to deal with death and also worrying about, oh, I could be next, or I could get this virus. Someone else I know that's even more weak than the person that passed away could get this virus. It's a spiral of worry and paranoia. And I can see why people would easily fall into that habit. Like, oh my God, this could happen to me, this could happen to them, this could happen to anybody. And it's just, it worries you to death. Literally, it could worry you to death. You stress out so much that your immunity falls, and then you get sick, and it's like, oh no. I think that's all I'm going to talk about for this vlog. It wasn't much of a vlog. I just wanted to give a quick update for this past week, and then talk about some things that had come up that I just thought about, because I didn't have a topic for this week. But when I heard that Joe passed last night, and I remembered back that my sister's friend, her father had passed away during all of this. I feel like it was something that should be talked about, because I don't know how many people are actually going to discuss death during coronavirus and during this outbreak, because death is a big taboo for people. Like, they just freak out talking about it. I don't know necessarily if that's because it just brings up this emotional turmoil within people, or they just don't want to think of these people as dead. Like, they've just moved on to a different realm, like heaven or hell or something. But it's like, let's not talk about this, and maybe it won't be real. I don't know. But that's all I wanted to talk about this week. I guess that's it for this vlog.